Hi you guys, welcome to my little paintbrush. My name is Mrs Cami and I am so excited for the holidays. I love Halloween and I'm glad that you're here with me to celebrate in some of our spooky paintings. Today we're going to be painting our friendly ghosts. This can be done as a split canvas with someone special, or it can be a single, or you can do what I did and just put both ghosts onto one surface and paint it all yourself. So whatever you want to do, there's no rules here. Let's just have a good time. Before we get started, a quick reminder to not be too hard on yourself. We are all different. Our paintings will be different. So if you have some inspiration, roll with it. Don't feel like you have to paint this exactly like I'm doing mine. Also, remember, you can pause this video. You can rewind it. Don't feel like you have to keep up with me. I keep a pretty steady pace, so if I'm going too fast for you, just pause it, and that's totally fine. Okay, let's jump right in. Grab a big flat brush and get it wet in some water. Loosen up your bristles. Here's my palette. I've got some brown and pink here, and I want to mix a little bit of the brown into my pink. This is just to really mellow out that pink a bit. You don't have to do this if you like that really bright shade of pink, so totally up to you on that. I like to just add a little brown and tone it down just a little bit. Now I'm going to lighten up my pink for my background. However, I want to save some of this dark pink, so I'm just going to scoop a little bit over and start mixing it with white. And as you can see, I don't need a ton of the pink to get that light pink from my white. So go as light as you want. Just remember that your paint dries about a shade, sometimes too darker on your canvas than what it looks like on your palette. So keep that in mind when you choose your color. All right, so I've got the pink that I want. Now I'm going to go ahead and fill in my background. Okay, so just real simply here, we're going to follow our little shapes here around our friendly ghost. I think I'm going to lighten my background even a bit more, and that's totally fine. Sometimes you put your brush on your surface and you realize it's not as light as you want it, and so you can keep adding. Not a big deal. Okay, so here we go. Let's paint around our ghosts. You can see I've got both of my ghosts on my surface here, and so they're coming off the page probably a little sooner than yours will, so don't let that throw you off. It was just the way I did it so I could get them both on this one surface for you so you could see what both of these will look like and how to do your bow tie and all that fun stuff. So don't let that throw you off too much. And we're going to do the best we can to just follow nice and gently the shape of our cute little ghosts here. So go around. Of course, if you get some paint in your ghost or in the cute little hair bow, don't let it stress you out right now, and just say to yourself, I'll come back to it, because it's much better to go back to it after it's dried and to stress out about it right now. Okay, so we're not going to do that. We're going to come and just focus on our background and go back to those areas that we kind of mess up on if that happens. And again, we're just trying to enjoy the process here. And if we get too worked up about the little stuff, we're going to miss the whole point and we're not going to have a good time. And that's what we want to do. Okay, so we're just going to continue in with our background, going around our ghosts, just nice and easy here. Again, you might have a little more space than I do in some of these areas, but I'm going to try and get as much of both of these ghosts and all the details on my surface for you so you can see. No matter which one you're painting, you'll have a reference. Okay, So just filling in that background. Get it all filled in. Make sure you wrap your edges too. So go around your canvas. We're kind of big on that at the studio. I feel like that's an important step. It just really completes your painting and has it all ready for display when you're finished. So there we go. There's our cute little ghosts. Background is in. Let's give our brush a really good wash here. I'm gonna put a little more white on my palette while you guys wash out your brush. Swishing it around. All right. Make sure it gets nice and clean because we're gonna go into some white next. We wanna make sure that that's super clean. Okay, so now I'm gonna load my brush with white paint, and I'm going to come into my ghosts, and basically I'm just wetting the surface here. So I'm not really concerned about stroke direction or anything like that. I just want my ghost to be nice and wet from the paint so that I can blend around the edges, okay? So just really get your white paint on there. This isn't the time to be super concerned about everything being perfect because our canvas is white, and so we're not really going to be able to see a whole lot of that. And a lot of times we put all this effort into steps that we don't really see in the end. So you just want to really get that surface wet and ready for blending, okay? So here we go. Got my big flat brush all loaded with white paint, making sure there's enough water in my brush here. And then I'm going to go into this darker shade of pink, and I'm just going to put just a little bit on one corner of my brush, and I'm going to take that corner around my ghosts. Okay? So what I'm doing here is really blending the outer edge here, or inner edge I should say, of my cute friendly ghost. Of course they don't have to be pink. If you've chosen a different color, then of course you own that. There's no rules here in what you want to do with your painting. But you can see by this technique I'm just getting a nice blended darker edge around my ghost, and I'm helping it stand out without having a really stiff outline, which is what we're going for. We want it to stand out a little bit, but we don't want it to look like we just outlined it. We want it to have a nice blended edge. Okay, so every time I load my brush, I'm doing the same thing, putting it all in white and then coming in on the corner with that darker shade. Okay, so just take it around the bottom here. Same thing. Just shaping that edge a little bit there. This will be much easier for you if your paint is nice and loose. So if it's feeling thick and sticky, almost like glue, that's what I always say. Are you painting with glue? And if you feel like you are, then you want to stop and you want to add water to your paint. You don't want to just put your brush in water. You want to actually incorporate that water into your paint. Okay, so let's do our little girl ghost here. Again, we're just gonna go around, and I go over it a couple times. You can see I work that paint a few times. You know, first time it doesn't always go exactly as planned, so we can work it a few times. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Just reshaping her little head. There we go. cute. Just keep loading it up here. Come over to this side. Oh, a little too much pink, not enough white, so I'll go back and just add a generous amount of white to my brush to help with that. There's almost always a solution, even when we feel like we've just absolutely messed up and there's no saving our painting. That's usually not the case. We can usually figure out some way to bring it back, so no stress. Just enjoying our painting here. And getting a nice flowy kind of look to our ghosts. Okay, looking good. Our ghosts are in. Fabulous. Let's give our brush a nice wash again. Swishing that water around really good. And now I'm going to switch to a smaller flat. Okay, if you have a round, that'll work too, but I'm going to use a smaller flat, and I'm going to make some light orange. I want it to be pretty light, so I'm going to pull over some white and mix it into my orange here. And you can be the judge of how light or how dark your orange is. This is your painting again. I'm going to lighten it up and loosen it up. So I'm going to make sure I've got some water in there. You'll notice I typically will add white to every color before I go to the canvas. All right, so we've got our orange, and we're just going to fill in our cute little bows. We've got a bow up in our little female ghost on her head. Just follow that, put that in. Then of course our little guy has a bow tie. And I chose to do kind of matchy. So they're both gonna have an orange polka dot bow, because I just thought that was super fun. And I love the pinks and the oranges together this time of year. I'm a mom to all girls, so I have embraced pink in my life here. So let's go ahead and put in our little bow tie on our little dude over here. Make him feel a little more manly with all this pink happening. And of course, if you want to make your bow tie bigger or smaller, there's just so many options. You can have so much fun with these and just explore and do all the things here. Just filling it in. Nice. Already love what's happening with these two colors hanging out on this canvas. Super fun. I'm gonna go back to my first bow, so up in the little girl. I'm just gonna brush on another coat of paint, just real quickly. And then I'm gonna do the same thing I kind of did around the ghost. I'm gonna have all that light orange in my brush, and then put half of it into the original orange color, and I'm going to take that corner and I'm just going to go around the sides of my bow, so the whole shape of my cute little bow I'm going to follow with this dark orange here. Sometimes we clump up a little bit, just wipe that. Sometimes you can just blend it in. Don't want any of that happening, so I'll just blend that in. Remember, there's polka dots on these bows, so you know this a lot of this is going to get covered up. But the idea of it is important. So we're gonna do it. Okay, so now I'm gonna go outer edge here. And that little line right there is important when we do our bows. So make sure you get that little kind of loopy there. That's the back side of our ribbon. So we'll just pull it up and around. It's already looking super fun. It just turns into a bow so quickly, from an orange blob to a nice bow. Sometimes it's just these particular lines that we put into our painting that kind of change the whole thing. And so that's what makes them really important. I always tell people don't skip the steps that aren't as enjoyable, which you're probably finding that this one's giving you a bit of a headache because it's a technique you're not familiar with. But don't skip the stuff that's difficult, because it's going to make the biggest difference when your painting's all done. So same thing on our little bow tie. I'm going to put in a layer, another layer here. And then I'm going to do the same thing. And if your paint is starting to feel sticky, remember, use your water. Mine so far is doing pretty good, so I'm going to just keep going with it here. Around the middle of our little knot in our bow here. Centerpiece. Sometimes that orange just gets a little clumpy. I use my fingers a lot when I paint. They are a good tool to use. So if you get a little clumpy, just drag your finger in there, help yourself out a little. Don't be afraid of your canvas and your paint and the whole process of it. A lot of times, especially when we're new to painting, we fear that we're just going to mess something up, and so we just stay completely disconnected from our canvas. So don't let the fear of messing something up stop you from just diving in there and really connecting to the whole thing. All right, you guys, and just like that, we're gonna have our bows ready for some polka dots. So fun. Okay, we're gonna let those dry for a minute. I'm gonna give my brush another good wash here. And I'm gonna continue to use my smaller flat, and I'm gonna go into my black paint here. And I'm going to paint in my eyeballs because I want them to dry a little bit so I could put in some fun little light in them. So let's go ahead and put those in so they can start drying, okay? Whenever you're painting, think of the steps you can do so you're not waiting for things to dry, but you're just going to another step in the process of it. So circles can be tricky. You'll see my circles here even will grow a little bit as I'm filling it in. That is totally normal, okay? So you got to kind of slow down a little bit, because what happens is we want this perfect circle, which is impossible to do freehand like this, but we want it so badly that we keep going in it, and then it just starts to grow. So I always say, if you're, oh, there's some orange in my brush, just blend it in. If you are mostly satisfied with your circle, move on. I always say 60% because it's better than just halfway satisfied, but it's not 100. We don't want to ever expect perfection from us. We just want to do our best. So if you feel like your circles are good enough, move on. And trust me, when there's eyelashes and highlights, that perfect circle that you're going for won't matter so much. But see, a trick is you can press your brush completely against your canvas and your bristles will flare out. When they flare out like that, you can get that cleaner edge. I'm just loosening my paint with some water here. I keep doing that because my black is seizing up a bit. But see how my brush is just flat against my canvas here? I just push the bristles. As I do that, it just kind of flares out and pushes all the paint towards the end of the bristles so that it can get a much better edge. And there you go. We just did our eyes. So let's wash our brush. It looks kind of creepy right now. The cute factor will come when we put in our little highlights. But let's continue with our black. So I'm going to get my little detail brush, get it wet. So this is your smallest brush, and it's important that you save your detail brush for details. That's why they call it a detail brush. If you go into your bigger sections of your canvas with a detail brush, you're going to ruin your brush and you're going to have a lot of brush stroke problems. So let's go ahead and make our ghosts happy. My ghosts are happy anyway. So I like to put the smile kind of up there, close to the eyes. And I like to do a little like wrinkle mark. I just think that's cute. And my little girl supported me on that, so I stuck to it. And our boy ghost, our little guy, is going to have some eyebrows here. We're just going to do, just really carefully, remember brushes thrive on pressure. So more pressure on your brush, bigger brush stroke. Less pressure, smaller brush stroke. All right, let's go over to our little girl here. Same thing, she's going to be happy. She's excited for Halloween and all the fun things. We'll give her the same little wrinkle mark. Okay, but she is going to get some lashes. Of course, our girls love the lashes, so I like to just do 3. But I mean, give your little girl as many as you possibly want to. Let's see if I can get this other side here. I'm not used to not being able to move my canvas. You can definitely flip your canvas around to get the other side, because that's a little tricky. All right, she's looking fabulous. All right, so we're gonna wash out that detail brush, and we are going to go back to our little bows and put our polka dots on. And these are gonna go on with our smaller flat and just that darker orange, okay? So this definitely needs some water. I'm gonna mix in some water. And these polka dots are just completely up to you in placement. But just remember, you don't want every single polka dot to be the same in where it's at, okay? So be sure to kind of not create a constant pattern of polka dots. Switch it up enough, have some that are kind of half there. Because remember, this ribbon is tied, so they wouldn't all be full polka dots, right? We would get some of these half seam dots here. There we go. And down here, got half right there. Put a nice big one right here. I love the polka dots. When they come on this bow, I just get super excited because it brings all the fun to these bows. And this is actually one of your principles of art. Pattern helps our paintings, so we're gonna just have a good time with that. I'll do one right here. Okay, let's go up to our little girl ghost and do the same thing. Just start giving her some polka dots. See how I kind of just plant my brush and then I give it a twist? Or like 2 half circles. You learn these little tricks the longer you paint, and you learn that your brush is already designed to do the work for you. We are the ones that complicate it. So really embrace what your brush can do, is what I'm saying. And a lot of times what we would do is we would say, oh, I need my detail brush for this part because these are little circles, and you really don't. You can really do it with this medium flat brush here. As I say that, we get a little wonky circle here. And then we'll do just one coming off the edge here. Just like that. Oh my gosh, I hope you guys are loving this. This is so cute. Okay, I'm gonna bust out a little bit of glitter paint. Now if you bought our paint kits, then you have this glitter paint. If you didn't, you can find it at really any art supply store will have it. But I'm gonna take my silver glitter paint and my medium flat brush, and I'm going to just fill my entire background with glitter. Now I know what you're thinking. You want to fill the whole painting with glitter. I know that because I'm the same way. I'm like, why just the background? Let's just go all in on here. Let me give you a little tip. You can over glitter. What happens is the light will hit your canvas, and instead of picking up these fun little glittery spots and the sparkling, it'll just be blinding your whole canvas. The light will hit it and you won't be able to enjoy all of your hard work. So don't jump in and glitter your whole piece. We're gonna stick to the background and we're gonna stick to our polka dots, okay? So trust me on this one and just do your background and polka dots. All right, our background is in with the glitter. It's gonna dry, it's gonna sparkle, it's gonna be everything. So fun. Okay, back to my detail, and let's go into some white paint. Make sure it's nice and loose with some water here. We're gonna put a fun bit of detail in our eyes. I started doing these like white smiley faces on the bottom of my eyes in a lot of my paintings, and I just love the way that it looks. It brightens the whole thing up, and so I just love that. Okay, so we're going to do that in all of our eyes here. And see, it's just, I'm sticking to the bottom here of my eye. And just think of a smiley face. If we think of our shapes, it's super helpful when we're painting. Less overwhelming, okay? Continuing with our detail brush into the black paint. Again, make sure it's loose, especially when we paint our details. We want our paint to be nice and thin, okay? We do not want it to be too thick. Now I'm gonna add a few, don't panic, I'm not gonna outline my entire bow. I'm gonna add a few lines to just help bring the whole painting home here, okay? This is just gonna help to really keep these really super cute features standing out. And we've got those black eyes, and if they were the only black on our canvas, we wouldn't have a cohesive piece. Okay, so we're going to kind of add these little black details into our bow to help the eyeballs not be the only black in our painting. Okay, so you can see I'm not outlining the whole bow, okay? So I don't want you to, and anytime I say outlining, we feel overwhelmed. You can see I'm not doing that. I'm just giving it a little here and there. Okay, so just like that. Cute, cute. Wash my detail brush so that all the clumpy black paint is off and go right back into black. We just don't want it to be thick. Mine was getting thick. We're gonna do the same thing around our ghost. Just a few black touches here, okay? Not outlining the whole thing, guys. Just giving our piece a nice cohesive flow, okay? And honestly, if you are a really little artist joining me today, you can opt out of this part. That is okay. Lines are trickier for our younger artists, so you make that call. But if you're old enough to give it a try, it's great practice, okay? We're just gonna come along back side here and do the same thing over here. You can see I've tried to keep all of the black in the same areas from the girl and boy. So we kind of have it meshing together. And that's all the outlining you guys have to do, okay? Now, grab something. You can use the bottom of your brush. I want a big dot tonight, so I'm going to use the bottom of a foam paintbrush, but if you have any peg at home, just grab a wooden peg. We're going to dip it in the white here, and I want a nice big reflection on each eye, and he of course is looking over at his friend. So we're going to put those on that side, and she no doubt is looking right back at him. They are good friends. Okay, and then I use a smaller or my medium flat brush to get a smaller dot. I like to do a double highlight. Of course, it's just a little white in there. It's just my preference. And look, this is when the cute factor starts coming in. We still got it. It was just looking a little crazy with the black eyes and no details. All right, I'm actually going to use gold glitter paint for my orange polka dots because when it comes to glitter paint, I can't ever decide. So I've got both here. So I'm going to use the gold to put into my dots, okay? Because of course they're orange, and so the yellow in the gold glitter. See, the gold glitter paint has a little yellow hue to it. So if I did it on my background, it wouldn't be as, it would affect my pink. But I can put it right in these dots here, and the yellow pigment won't really affect my orange. Look how fun, it just starts to sparkle. Super Halloween-y here. I'll just get all those in. Now, if you want to glitter your whole bow, I think that's okay, but again, it's a lot nicer on the eyes when we just have little pieces of glitter instead of the whole thing. So rinse out your brush, and I'm going to go back to my peg and put in my cheeks. And these are going to be with my dark pink, okay? So here we go. We're going to put, oh, we got a little drip here. Pink one there and there. So fun. Now I decided to put cheeks on my little boy ghost too. Even though that was a big debate in my house. Like I said, I've got all girls, so I'm going in on all the pink. So our last step here, we're just going to put a bit of a shadow underneath our bow tie and our hair bow. So I'm going to get my medium or large flat, load it with white like we did in the beginning, and just a little of that dark pink. Okay, so we can just very gently put in a shadow. And truth be told, I normally would do this at the beginning when we put in the line around our whole ghost, but I totally forgot. So we're gonna bust it in real quick, and it's no big deal, right? It wouldn't be the first time Miss Cami forgot something. That happens frequently, but that really adds. Do you see that? It just kind of adds there. And we're gonna do the same thing up here on our cute little hair bow. Just shadow that in a little bit. Blend it in nicely. Again, one of those steps that maybe we would rather skip, but in the long run, it just adds so much to our masterpiece. Guys, I love these ghosts. They are super fun. So many options. You can switch up the colors. You can have them different. You can have them the same. It's totally up to you. I hope you loved it. I hope you had a great time. I would love to see your version of this painting. So be sure to tag us on social media and show us what you did. Let's go ahead and sign it before Miss Cami forgets that too. Okay, detail brush. I'm going to go ahead and get in my black paint. And I'm going to come along here and just sign my painting. And there we go. We did it. I hope you love it. Thanks so much for painting with me. Bye-bye, guys.